Hello and welcome back to the next part of this this here Traveler review. And the last time we were talking about the races and the classes and the skills and some of the combat and the alien creatures, and I'm just gonna talk like this. No, I wouldn't be able to stand myself for talking like that for a lot. So it's got encounters and dangers, which here on page 84 and 85, it's got a blue metric butt ton, about 30 different kinds of encounters. And it's not a blue metric, unless of course 30 is the number for blue metric butt tons. But it has a large number of encounter tables, and then of course it has all of your equipment, and it's just it brings back a lot of memories for me, because I used to play this game back in the 80s. The 1980s. It brings back a lot of memory because it's very cool. Weaponry is very cool. The damage is, and again, without the enhancements to your endurance, you get no more hit points than that. So the threat of weaponry is always there, no matter how long you've been playing. You know, you've got this. There's no such thing as an epic level character. There are only epic characters, and that's the thing that's the coolest of all to me. The coolest character of all, because you know how many. Okay, just for example, a really good example. The American Sniper. Okay, this movie's get out. It's got a lot of controversy, and Chris Kyle, the greatest sniper in all of history, had he been getting experience points and going up in levels, he would undoubtedly have been epic level. The man himself was epic, right? He was an epic American sniper. I think he's got the world record for the most confirmed kills of any sniper in American history. And yet, he was murdered on a target range by another dude who just decided to take his life. And you know, that can't happen in a game. It was a horrible tragedy, as it was. And but in game, that kind of thing can't happen when you've got this epic level, you know, barbarian or wizard or whatever. It's got hundreds and hundreds of, a wizard with hundreds of hit points, right? So that's epic level right there. And you know, they could take a fusion man portable, which is in this book, to the face and go, shouldn't have done that, I'm gonna kill you. So the threat of being killed is always there. And so that makes the whole style of play a lot, at least, more careful. You have to be more careful when you're playing, and what am I trying to say? The exploration and the suspense, that's the word I was looking for. The suspense is always there, because you don't get to just go, you know, putting some boots to some doors and knocking heads in without worrying about your character getting blown away, because your character can always get blown away from start to finish. And that adds a lot of suspense and thrill to the game. It really does. And so it keeps that thrill always there, no matter how long you played. And of course, you can get enhancements for your stats, and you can get armor and, you know, stuff like that. You can put some powered boots to some doors and kick some heads in. with the right equipment, but that takes money and that takes adventuring and pay and so forth. So you still have to work up to that point with the artificial enhancements. It's got robots. You can have your robots put some boots to some throats if you wanted. Then it has a table for random traits, of course. Well, not of course, but of course it should be. And in this one, of course, it is. It talks about fatigue, unconsciousness, goes through all of the medical treatment, surgery, medical care, augmentation, natural healing, so forth. Then it has a table for contacts, allies, rivals, and enemies, and so forth. And then it gives some examples. And it has a very extensive encounter set of tables, like I mentioned before. And, of course, the equipment is all very sci-fi, and it's all very cool. My favorite thing is the gauze gun and the vibro blade. I don't think the vibro blades are in this book. I think that's in the Mercenaries book. But the gauze rifle and the gauze pistol, it's electromagnetic linear accelerator, aka railgun, but it's in handheld, and it shoots 4mm hollow point soft jacketed titanium core needles that make a mess out of whatever you're shooting at. Which is incredibly cool. My mind starts, I'm like, thinking about stuff. So, then it has an extensive section on spaceship design, on how to design your own spacecraft. And then it has an extensive list of common spacecraft, like the Scouts, the Seeker, the mining ship, the Free Trader, the Far Trader, what got away from me, the Lab ship, the Gazelle Close Escort, so forth and so on. So it has a lot of ships, and it has a very cool maneuver and movement rules. It has a list of alternative power plants, and it goes through the electronics, what they can do, what they can't. It has things like alternative drives instead of, this is a jump drive, which takes a week to go X number of parsecs, equal to your jump rating. So if you got a jump 5 ship, then in 1 week it takes you to jump through space, through the fold in space. It takes you 1 week to jump for 5 parsecs, which is about 20 light years, because a parsec is 4 point something light years. So it also talks about the warp drive, the teleport drive, the hyperspace drive, so forth and so on. Then the fuel you get is it's a type of processed hydrogen. So some of these ships come equipped with fuel scoops that you can skim across the top of a gas giant, for instance, and refill your tanks. You're welcome. And that's incredibly cool. So it has a really cool thing about that. A really cool system with that. The weaponry on the ships, you have lasers. You have lasers, period. No, you don't have just lasers. Trying to find it here. So it talks about spaceship operation, like docking and skipping out on debts. That's a bad thing to do. Then it has random tables for salvage, jump travel, space combat, which is inevitable. Then it's got travel times for interplanetary travel. Very in-depth, very sciencey, and sciencey fictiony. So we have pulse lasers, beam lasers, particle beams, fusion guns, mason guns, missiles, and the ever-present sandcaster. And a sandcaster is not a weapon; it's a defense mechanism that blows out a dispersing cloud of just straight up sand to disperse and diffuse the beam weapons that come at your ship. And then you got the black globe generator, which is an energy absorbing globe of absolute blackness. But you can't fire through it. It's just a black globe. It absorbs all energy that tries to pierce it, and that energy is transferred to a capacitor that has to be discharged or you explode. The ship combat is kind of interesting. Now, I know I mentioned that they didn't have hull points and stuff, but that's not entirely accurate. The damage is tracked in two ways, as per the rules, by hull and structure points. And by hull and structure points is one way, and then the other way it's tracked is by hits to the systems such as engines and turrets, and also crew. So you can completely kill the crew of a ship with it mostly intact if you do it right, which is good if you're a pirate. Yar. You can board the ship and take their plunder, leave their booty, leave their booty and hoist them from the yard. So you can aim for certain systems like the maneuver drive, the power plant, hulls, turrets, the bridge. Take out the bridge. You got yourself a new ship. You can't drive it, but you got yourself a new ship. So forth. And it also includes psionics, which are incredibly cool. I had a psionic character. My main character from back in the day was very highly psionic. He had things like telekinesis and telepathy, where he could project his or emotions into other people. So at one point in time, he was tied up and he blasted this guy with fear. And the guy that was going to kill him actually jumped out the window instead because he was so afraid. So, totally cool. So then you also have the Scion class, which is separate from just having psionics. And you can actually roll up a psionic class person. Then it has a list of trade for paying off their debts. You certainly want to do that. Speculative trade and smuggling. It's got rules for that. All this whole table for trading, like cybernetics and medical supplies, petrochemicals, pharmaceuticals, basic ore, advanced electronics, and so forth. So you load up on the common stuff here and unload it on the place where it's rare. You got yourself a profit, my lad. And then it also has trade goods by world type, so forth. The next section is world creation. Another incredibly cool feature, because it has right here on page 167, right there, it has the character creation, the world creation method that they use in Traveler for star mapping, which includes bases, the starport class, the gas giant, whether it has a gas giant indicator. That's important because if you remember earlier, what do you use gas giants for? That's right. If you said fuel scooping, you are correct, sir and or madam. So an empty circle indicates amber category. Solid gray circle indicates red. The different categories are depending on whether it's here. I'll get it. It's part of the travel zone. Most worlds are assumed to be civilized or at least amenable, to travelers and visitors. Some, however, are caught in the throes of war. And plagued by disease, or simply not ready for interstellar visitors, apparently like Earth. Or is it? Such worlds are classified by travel zones to denote such status. In most cases, referees should indicate travel zones based on information available. Two such zone types exist: amber and red. Amber travel zones indicate the traveler should exercise caution when visiting such worlds. The Amber Code may mean that the citizens of the worlds are xenophobic, that the political situation is chaotic, or that some other danger exists within the system. Red travel zone usually indicates that a major danger exists within the system. This danger may be disease, and the world is quarantined. The system may be involved in war, and surface or space battles may be probable. Red travel zones are also used to show government, which a government edict prohibiting entry to the system or world. This may be to protect the local civilization, which is still developing and not yet ready for interstellar contacts, or to protect valuable resources until the government can mine them, etc. So, more of it is, it's discussed further in a page back, which is odd. It has different bases, like a naval base, a scout base, a research base, a traveler's aid society base, imperial consulate, or a pirate base. Yar. And so you can see here from page 168, there are, and this is a lot of worlds, yes, but remember, this is 20 parsecs wide by 40 parsecs tall. So 20 times 4 point whatever. I apologize for not knowing my parsec number. But 20 parsecs wide is something in the neighborhood of 80 light years. It's 80 plus light years this way by 160 plus light years that way. Take a look at our own star with Sol in the middle, and you go out a few light years and you've got Alpha Centauri. Then you've got Proximity, and so forth and so on. So, in this district red, and this is an entirely red 23 district, which has a pirate base, which is marked off as a red zone. Another pirate base that's marked off as a red zone. The Agi, which is has a pirate base and a gas giant, so you might swing in there to get some fuel. Try and sneak out. But in this line of planets, Real, Katzbalger, Golok, Aji, Dahaka, Hagenti or Hagenti, and Omel, in this line right here, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different choices for gas giants in the system, because gas giants are plentiful among the exoplanets. And just in this 5, each one of these, I think, is 5 light years. Let's see, 5, 10, 15, 20. Nope. It's 20 or 40. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40. Nope. So anyway, in this list of hexes, do you even? In this list of hexes of 5 planets, there are 4 of them that have gas giants in the system. One of which is a science station. There's 2 scout stations. One has a naval base. I had to remember what star was. A naval base, a science base, a traveler's aid society, and a imperial consulate. I remember. I get it. And a gas giant and a type A starport. Sparstort. My battery's running down. So just in one world, you can jump any number of parsecs just based on how many gas giants you have. And so you have to plot your courses and plan your adventuring very, very particularly. And the world creation is very in-depth. It's very detailed. Has all kinds of possibilities. Starport creation, trade codes, and it follows up with the index. Awesome game. Awesome game. I wish I could give this more than 5 axes because it's just that cool. There are a few people whose opinion I care not for. Suggest that the game is too simple, but instead of saying it's too simple, I see the glass half full of plasma and say that it has a lot of room for house rules and your imagination. I totally dig this game. This is my favorite by far science fiction role-playing game of all time. Because I have Anagathics and I have all of time. So, Traveler, again, from Mongoose Publishing. Look them up here. Don't forget to look us up at www.dwarventavern.net. And subscribe, like, and all that stuff. Please. And don't forget that we, here at the Dwarven Tavern, wish for you to want for nothing but adventure. And at first I feared it, then I charged. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.